Yes, welcome to my show now. It's time to get another independent male solo artist on my show. And they keep on coming, these original artists. Good to see music, flourishing of late. And we've got a singer, John Blaylock. Welcome to my show.
Thanks so much. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on my show. And I wanted to ask, detecting a northern accent there. So automatically, when you think of the North, you think of the great music scene they've exported to the world over the years.
Yes, yeah, I'm from the Manchester side of the north, and yeah, there's some great bands come out of Manchester. I'll give you my top five that I loved growing up: being the Stone Roses, the Charlatans, Oasis, the Happy Mondays, and the Spiral Carpets.
Fair dues, yeah, some good company there. Fantastic. And in your music as well, would you say those influences shine through?
Yeah, do you know what's quite interesting? Because I grew up with my friends listening to the sort of music I just listed, but at home, my dad was listening to Bob Dylan and Paul Simon. So I kind of got into that finger picking guitar style, and have made this record basically combining great intricate finger picking guitar, but with the sort of melodies you'd expect to hear from those other bands. So
Wow.
yeah, bit of a twist.
A little bit of a crossover going on there.
Yeah, man.
Brilliant. How long have you been like performing on stage for, like doing gigs?
Good 15 years now. I mean, I got a guitar when I was 12, maybe 13, and probably did my first gig when I was maybe 16, 17, something
Yeah.
like that. And I've just never stopped, never watched stop.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a while.
That's good to hear. And during your college days, if you went to university, would you say you were like determined to follow the path into music?
Yeah, definitely. So I went to music college and I absolutely loved it. I was just playing guitar every day. I learned music theory, which was a revelation because I didn't
Ah,
know anything about the theory side of stuff. Just grew up playing, learning how to play the guitar, and then when I learned the theory, I was like, "Oh wow, this is amazing! Now it all makes sense."
yeah.
So that was a great thing, and it's something I use all the time.
Mm.
Um, and so, yeah, I was very glad to be doing something at college that I was like, right, this is what I want to be doing, and this is what I enjoy doing
Yeah.
every day. So, yeah.
I did BTech in popular music. I did find the theory side really challenging because you think you know everything about music, but once you do your theory, it's really does test the mind.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant. And now onto the here and now. You're promoting and plugging a new single called Temples, which has been described as a heady mix of acoustic bliss and heart-wrenching lyricism.
Yeah, that's a great review we got there. It's yeah, I'd say that's probably where we tried to pitch it, where it's based around some real nice acoustic guitar finger picking, uh, but we try to get a real deep meaning, heartfelt song here, and hopefully we've achieved that.
Nice. I've managed to have a listen to it and play it on my show a couple of times, and I know you've got your own identity as an artist, but your vocals slightly remind me of that era of the 2000s. The Kooks and maybe
Oh
the
yeah,
twang as well. They were quite
right, right.
romantic.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've got a lot of respect for both those artists, so I'll take that. Thank you.
Great. And do you perform at like gigs like saying like O2s and academies, places like that? Where this put live acts.
Yeah, well, basically, from Sunday this week, I'm going out on tour, playing theatres up and down the country, which is really exciting. And some of those theatres are just absolutely stunning. I think the two I'm looking forward to the most are Victoria Hall in Stoke and the Royal, it's called the Royal Theatre in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Um, Both just absolute stunning venues, probably hold about 2,000 people each. And yeah, it's going to be great. So I'm supporting Wet 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 on their UK
Nice.
tour, and yes, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Great. And I know with the playing live music venues, would you say it's a refreshing change from doing like the Academy's O2s arenas to like old school theatres, historical auditoriums?
Yeah, I mean, there's something magical about those theatres. They just look. I mean, even with no one in it, they look
Mm.
absolutely incredible. So to be playing to them full of people, it's gonna be
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah.
And is it good to see people well attending these events as well? Because you need people to put bums and seats to keep the theatres surviving as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And so, yeah, and it's great for me. Obviously, I'm just kind of emerging as an artist and trying to get my music out to as many people as possible. So to kind of piggyback on with Wet, 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 and I've got a lot of respect for the music they made over the years and
Yeah.
them as people. So to support them and hopefully piggyback and get some of their fans on board listening to Temples and the rest of my tunes can only be a good thing.
That's good. I know they had a massive hit with that Forward into a Funeral track, Love Is All Around. But when you look at their other catalogue, they had some smash hits.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. They've
Cool.
got
Now, on to you as well, with temples as well. That's one of the reasons why we got you here on the show. I just
a,
wanted to give you an opportunity to tell me and my listener, about the song. Is there a hidden meaning to the song where the listener can relate or connect with, and maybe who you worked with on this single as well?
certainly, yeah. So I wrote this song with a lady called Helen Balding, who, as an artist herself, had quite a decent career a few years back now, but she's now much more focused on songwriting and helping develop other artists.
Mm.
So we wrote this together, and it's a song about oneness and the fact we're all connected. And when we say "Let when the temples fall," we talk about the institutions in life that put us in boxes that try to say you're like this and you're like that, therefore you shouldn't like that person because they like this. I mean, just as a most basic concept, I'm from Manchester. People tell me that I shouldn't like people that support Manchester City because I support Manchester United. I just think what a pathetic ideology you have in
Mm.
life if that's something you subscribe to.
Yeah.
Uh, I've met people. I've met Mancunians thousands of miles away that want to have an argument with me about that, even though we're both from Manchester. Uh, so yeah, I think it's when we say let the temples fall, it's like let these false constructions of the mind and let this ego just go because
Mm.
if you take away that, then effectively we just love. And there's a great lyric in this song that says, "If you take away the judgment, we're just love." And yeah, that's something that I think is really cool.
Right. And did you go to recording studio for this one? I know some artists like to record from home, but there's a good authenticity about going into like a professional recording studio.
Yeah, I mean, I have a home studio set up, and I will demo all my recordings here first. But yeah, very pleased to say, recorded this Guy Massey's studio in London, and Guy Massey is big time. He's done the
Mm.
Beatles, he's done Adele, he's done Amy Winehouse. At the time he was recording me, he was also mixing Kylie Minogue and Rita Ora.
Uh,
So he's in some good company there,
yeah,
and yeah,
good.
he certainly knows what he's doing, and he's made it sound incredible.
Great. So that's who you kind of work with, like producer wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
did you write this song by yourself, or did you work with like co-writers as well?
Yeah, so I mean, I write loads by myself and I write loads with other people. This was a co-write between myself and Helen Balding.
Oh yes, you mentioned that. Yeah. And how do you find writing songs these days? I find talking to artists, they do a lot of not a lot of them, but a few of them do brainstorming. They put like an idea down and they work around that. Do you find that a good way of writing?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've got two styles of writing. One is where I do the brainstorming would definitely be where I find a really good title for a song. Um, and then what I would do if I say for example, this next single I've got coming out on February the 13th is called Life by the Gram. And a friend of mine who I wrote with loads in LA came up with that title and thought that's brilliant. And what we would do first of all is like just write that down, Life by the Gram, and then just write just as many other words or little phrases that are synonymous with that. And then as we sort of writing more and more the tune, always just going back to that piece of paper with all these different words on and trying to incorporate as much of those into the song. And I think that's a really cool thing to do.
It's an art form in itself, that is. I remember like in English lessons, they used to teach that in primary schools. I'm not sure if they still do it now, but I think it's a good idea if they still do it.
Well, yeah, I didn't learn that myself in
Uh,
school, so maybe we need to reform the
yeah.
education
I
system.
used to love drawing the cloud bit and then writing the word down.
The word cloud.
Yes, that's it. Would you say you're quite artistic yourself?
I do like to create. I designed the jumper for the Temples music video, which I thought, since we're doing a day of radio interviews today, I would wear it myself.
Oh,
Well,
oh, that's
this
very cool.
homemade jumper, and I'll show you the back of it because
Yeah,
hopefully you can see here.
yeah.
Uh, got temples on the back there, and I like to do all this stuff with spray paints. So yes, I get creative to make my own clothes, make my own music. Still wouldn't say I've made any significant paintings or artworks, but there's still
That's
time yet.
yeah, that's amazing. And do you wear like your gear on stage as well? You know your clothes.
Yes, do you know it's interesting? In advance of going on this tour, I've just had 200 t-shirts ordered, so I can have a merch tent, and I'm just currently deliberating whether I should wear my own t-shirt on stage. Might come across as a little bit egotistical, but I
Yeah.
would like to promote it to the people that are the gigs.
Mm. Sometimes got to be done though.
Yes, yes.
Cool. And then do you have an official website where people can, check out your tour dates and like, your
Yeah, absolutely.
merchandise?
So it's my name, johnblaylock.com, but with a hyphen between John and Blaylock. So
Right. Got
john-blaylock.com.
it. And then are you an independent artist at the moment? And if so, what do you enjoy about that aspect of being
Um,
so?
I am an independent artist in that I'm not signed to a major record label. I have a indie label on the distribution deal, and I'm working with a team that's around me to
Yeah.
help break through and help do what we want to do. So I feel like I am occasionally restricted by the opinions of people in my team, but I'm not so steadfast on my own opinions that I can't take guidance from other people. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
sure. Sometimes you just need that
Sorry,
extra support, don't you? Like, with help getting your product out there and like being signed does help.
of course.
And you mentioned like your influences. That was my next question. So we've asked that question. Have you where would you say you've performed? Which I know you're from Manchester. Where would you say is where you performed a place where you feel you like to come back again and again to?
I Yeah, I've done some gigs all over the place. I really enjoyed gigging in Sweden, Stockholm. That seems to be a very cool musical city. Um, but I loved gigging in Pakistan.
Oh,
It's completely random, and you don't get a great deal of live music in those places.
hmm,
Particularly, you don't get a great deal of white people playing live music in those places. So when I rocked up there with an acoustic guitar, I had many people excited to hear what I was going to play, and that's a fun thing. So yeah, I do love to travel to random places, and I always take a guitar with me in gigs. So yeah, that'd be a fun experience to go
hmm.
back there.
Do you like that aspect of them traveling, coming, going hand in hand with your music as well? I know some musicians find that a bit tiring, exhausting, but do you absorb that all in?
Definitely. I mean, I first went on a big traveling mission when I was like 19 and went off for 7 months all over the place and took a guitar everywhere I went. So to me now it would seem alien to travel without a guitar. Um, and yes, it's a bit of always an issue getting it on planes.
Mm,
Um, but generally speaking, uh, it's the best thing in the world because to travel with a guitar, you just feel at home everywhere you are.
yeah. What is your most important go-to that you need to pack, when you're traveling?
Definitely the guitar, and then probably after that, there's nothing that's important. I mean, a passport. And generally, if I'm going somewhere, I'm like, right, have I got my wallet? Have I got my passport? Have I got my guitar? And hopefully, I bought some stuff
Yeah,
in that bag. But it's not the end of the world if I didn't.
yeah. The rest takes care of itself.
Yeah.
And the acoustic guitar seems like it's one of your best friends when you're traveling. That's one of your signature fortes of your music.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love fingerstyle guitar. I'm a huge Paul Simon fan, and yeah, this sort of intricate finger picking melodies just brilliant. And I feel blessed that it seems to be a bit of an overlooked art form in today's modern music, especially in the pop world. You don't
Mm,
hear many things. I mean, what was great for me actually was hearing Noah Khan last year had that big hit "Stick Season," which was number one for 7 weeks, and
yeah.
that was finger picking guitar and like a country song,
Mm.
which was just amazing to hear that on the radio. So yeah, hopefully that's opening the door
Yeah,
for more people like myself.
yeah. It's like really popular, isn't it? Alternative pop folk at the moment.
Yeah, definitely,
I think it was that
definitely.
Stargazing song.
Yeah,
That's
Miles Smith. Yeah.
yeah, he's popular. And on to back to temples as well. And so you've got this track promoting campaigning at the moment, and that will lead to a further single down the line. And you're gigging as well. 2025 looking for a positive outlook for you at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, the goal here is, well, I've got two main ambitions in the music industry. One is to win the Mercury Music Prize. Two is to have a hit record that everybody knows. And even though the album will not come out well, it will come out this year, but it will come after the deadline for 2025 Mercury Music Prize. So we're definitely gearing towards the that in
Hmm.
2026. And yes, we've got to try and get. Um, I mean, some of the records that are coming out late off this album are just brilliant. I'm really excited for them. So yeah, we want to promote them as much as we can and try and get the world to hear them.
Great. Yeah, just getting your name out there and your music.
Yeah, man.
And as a musical artist, have you faced like challenges of along the way? How do you stay motivated to overcome obstacles in your career?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of obstacles in the music industry. That's definitely fair to
Mm,
say. There's a fair few shady characters as well. And yeah, I think really my thing has always been to enjoy the journey.
mm,
Like, as much as there's can be some severe ups and downs in the journey, um, yeah, I'm determined to enjoy the
yeah,
process and keep focused on where it's going. So, yeah, I, I don't do too much negative thinking or dwelling on the past. Just keep
yeah,
on looking forward.
yeah. Good answer. Focus. That's a good word to always remember.
Yeah, man.
Cool. And how important is it to have like your own identity as an artist? Where stand out in the music industry.
Yeah, I do think it's mega important.
Mm,
Yeah. Um, if you're not, you're just a copycat, really, aren't you? And
mm,
no one wants to see that. So yeah, I think it's critical to have your own identity, your own sound, and not be too heavily influenced by outside forces.
yeah. And then do you have any musical guilty pleasures at all? I know you mentioned like your Manchester comrades, but how about like
Yeah,
any?
I mean, I got to say, I love a power ballad. Some absolutely great power ballads from back in the day, and I really love some modern pop stuff like Gracie Abrams. I love loads of like Kygo and Avicii remixes of all
Mm,
those
nice.
classic tunes as well, like Higher Love and yeah, just I spent a summer in Ibiza once and was just raving all the time. So
Yeah,
as much as I do love acoustic guitar music, I don't mind getting on a sweaty dance floor and
yeah,
dancing away to modern beats and big pop tunes.
yeah. Would you be open for any like DJs who like to is it remix like your music?
Yes, absolutely. David Guetta, hit me up. Let's get it on.
Cool. You never know who's out there, do you? Great. Well, lovely chatting with you today. And what's for me to do is I wish you the very best for like your tour with the boys from Wet Wet Wet, and we will replay your latest single called Temples on my show. Okay.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
lovely
you.
chatting with you, John, about music and your music and everything else that comes with it.
My pleasure. You
Yeah.
too, Dan.
Great
Yeah.
day. Have a great day and catch up with you soon.
Cheers, bud. Nice.